Hi everyone! In today's lesson, we will be learning about vertical angles. Given pairs of vertical angles, I will be able to use the property of congruence to find missing angle measures. What are vertical angles? Vertical angles are the angles opposite of each other when two lines cross. Here's an example of vertical angles. Notice how we have two lines crossing, and angle A and angle B are opposite of each other. So angle A and angle B are vertical angles. And vertical angles are congruent to each other. That means that they have the same angle measure. For this example here, the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle B. So vertical angles have the same angle measure. Let's use this property of congruence to look at some examples. Here's our first example. We are going to find the measure of the missing angle. The missing angle here is the angle A. Notice how there is an opposite angle that measures 101 degrees. These are vertical angles, so I know that A also equals 101 degrees because vertical angles are congruent to each other. So we know that A equals 101 degrees using the fact that vertical angles are congruent. Here's our second example. Again, it asks us to find the measure of the missing angle. So the missing angle in this example is the angle B. Notice how right across from it is 46 degrees. These are vertical angles, so I know B equals 46 degrees because I know that vertical angles are congruent to each other. They have the same angle measure. So for this example, B equals 46 degrees. In example 3, we are asked to find the measures of the missing angles. So we have two missing angles here that we have to find. We're going to take it step by step, solving for one angle at a time. Let's look at angle A first. Notice how angle A and the 100 degrees are vertical angles. So I know that A equals 100 degrees because vertical angles are congruent to each other. So we found angle A, and that equals 100 degrees. Next, let's look at angle B. So what do you notice about angle B? Think back to the previous lesson. I notice here that I have a straight angle, which is 180 degrees. So the angle B and the 100 degrees are supplementary angles, meaning that they sum to 180 degrees. So here I noticed that angle B and the 100 degrees are supplementary angles. Now I just solve for B. I am going to subtract by 100 degrees on both sides. This cancels out. I'm left with B equals 80 degrees. I was able to find the measure of angle B based on the fact that we have supplementary angles. Let's look at one more example. In this example, again, we will be finding the measures of two missing angles. Let's focus on angle C first. Notice how its opposite is this right angle measuring 90 degrees. These are vertical angles, so I know that C equals 90 degrees because vertical angles are congruent. So I found that C equals 90 degrees. Next, let's look at D. So focusing on angle D, notice here we have a straight angle measuring 180 degrees. So that means that angle D and 90 degrees are supplementary, so they add up to 180 degrees. I subtract by 90 degrees on both sides, and I am left with D equals 90 degrees. So I was able to solve for D using the fact that we have supplementary angles. So whenever an example asks you to find more than one angle, just remember to take it step by step, finding one angle measure at a time. Just as a review, vertical angles are the angles opposite of each other when two lines cross. So they are the angles right across from each other. And vertical angles are congruent, which means they have the same angle measure. Their angle measures are equal to each other. Great job today, and please remember to submit your notes on Canvas.